So, a couple months ago, I finished Resident Evil Requiem. 10 out of 10 would highly recommend. And only have 2 achievements left. Never touch the stuff and Remarkable Agent. Many people would probably go to casual mode for never touch the stuff, but of course, I'm given the option to take down 2 birds with 1 stone and waste much more time. First, I want to mention this isn't quite a no-heal run. For Grace, you have a small workaround through the steroid injectors, however they're extremely limited and you can only get 4 in a run. And for Leon, through certain parts of the story, he will fully automatically heal, and he has body armor which will decrease the damage taken, making him just a bit tankier throughout the run. I also want to mention that throughout the video, you will see footage of a separate run that I recorded for story purposes of this video. And because of that, obviously it would raise questions about the legitimacy of the run, and I don't want to get annihilated by trance, so I have posted all 17 hours of proof on my VOD channel for you to look through, so please leave me alone, trance. I actually did this challenge. I'll also be putting a TW in the top right corner about like 10 seconds before anything really gory for people who might get triggered or anything along those lines with gore. So, enjoy. I started a new run on Insanity as Grace, the FBI agent who was never made for the field. But you know who was? Her idol Leon. She loves Leon so much she's even cosplaying as him. Don't understand how that's allowed at the FBI. Isn't that, like, unprofessional? At work that day, I got incredible news, though. My boss told me that he got an email from my one and only hero, Leon. He said the email was very legit and that he would send me out to meet him. I was on top of the world. Nothing could stop me. All I had to do was go to the Redwood Hotel and... Wait, the Redwood Hotel? As I was walking down the street, I was terrified. Something's happened there. Wait, no! If Leon was here, he would tell me to lock in. I can do this. Wait, cigarettes are $10.60. As the shock of inflation rose through my body, I ran. I didn't even know where I was running, but then I found a picture of me. I don't know who put this here, but I think they may have Riz, because they told me to go to a room to talk. Alright. I went to the room and saw even more pictures of me. Now I'm getting flustered. But the phone rang and I realized where I really was. You see, my mom died in this hotel, and that's when my normal Uncle Cole snapped and became freaky Uncle Cole. We didn't know what to do with him, so we locked him in the hotel until we could figure out our next steps on fixing him. I had to escape and ran downstairs and saw my uncle, but he was normal. I guess all that time alone taught him some real values. I was going to give him a hug and then return him to the family, but then something changed. He started twitching, getting antsy, and he pulled a gun on me. I was terrified of what he could possibly do to me, and so I expertly evaded his shots. And ran upstairs for the fire escape. Then I saw a big man with ugly golden teeth and breath that smelled like an interdimensional garbage dump. He told me he was the one who sent Mr. Nathan Drake the email and tricked me, but it wasn't for malicious reasons. You see, he'd been stalking me like a creep since I was 16, but that's only because he loved me. I didn't know what to say. I mean, he truly loved me. Just look at all the pictures. But when I said I needed to take time to think about it, he grabbed me and kidnapped me. Luckily, Leon was on a normal patrol walking through the city because he's so good at his job, there was no more crime. Until a certain uniform caught his attention. Leon tried to catch me, but the horde that Victor made was too large and Victor got away. I awoke in a strange room, upside down and bound. What? Why am I here? I didn't have time to figure that out. I quickly threw myself to the ground without a second thought. Maybe it wasn't the smartest idea, considering I was now suffering a hemorrhage, but it sure got me out. As I tried to escape, I ran into my psycho ex, but thankfully she would never ever let into the light around me because all she ever wanted to do was do bad things with me in the dark, which is why it never worked out between us, among other things. But she would never understand that no matter how much I tried to explain it to her. As I made my narrow escape, she grabbed me. I thought it was over and that Marie would finally have her way, but none other than Leon saved me. He had tracked me down and found me just in the nick of time. He may have blasted Marie's brains all over the walls and ceiling, but that didn't really bother me too much. He told me that the man who took me was planning something big and gave me his gun. What? He's got black ice? Apparently, because there was no more crime left, Leon was able to pack black ice on his Requiem, and he was so happy he broke into song. But before I could say thank you and try to tell him of all the years I got bullied for wearing this costume and how it finally paid off, Victor took him, and I was left to fend for myself as I tried to escape. From this point on, I just want to mention I'm not going to use anything infinite or too strong in my eyes. So I'm banning the Kotetsu, Infinite Ink Ribbon, Infinite Hat setting, and the RPG for Leon, except for the one in the final boss fight, as you can get that in any normal run. With the weight of what Leon might be going through, I slowly trudged through the clinic until I came upon a little girl with an adorable panda onesie. I asked why she was in the cell as she babbled incoherently. However, my motherly instincts kicked in and I was able to decipher that her name was Emily and that she had been experimented on by the progenitor virus, and because of that, she was now blind. My memories clicked as I remembered reading about one of this in one of the FBI reports. The progenitor virus is what started all the bioweapon madness, and there was a particular virus that was just told to be a myth. It took control of the host and rapidly decreased brain capacity and function, slowly de-aging your mind until you hit the stage of a fetus in which you turn into a monstrous large fetus. Anyone hit by the progenitor virus would be marked by a pajama onesie of their choice. I now realize this poor child could have turned into a fetus at any minute and I had to try and save her. The first bit of the clinic on Grace is definitely the hardest part of the run. You have minimal resources at this point and are forced to go through many tight spaces before you can even get your first handgun. Going through the kitchen, my friend found a strat where you can aggro him and then back behind the fridge so that he can run at you, use 4 swings, and you can run right past after that 4th swing. Use the light switch at the very left to move the light zombie so you can just walk past, and normally you'd find a bad handgun before you really explore the West Wing, but this is Insanity, so it's in the bar and lounge. The first thing that helps the run the most is Freya's Needle. It's a New Game Plus weapon that shoots handgun ammo like an SMG. While its damage and all is pretty bad, it makes grabbing the first handgun much easier, but you don't want to actually reload Freya's Needle as it's incredibly inefficient in the bullet to damage ratio. I used the Requiem to kill the singer and then would use the needle to get out of the area safely. By the way, I just want to say that gambling is so dumb and bad and awful and never do it. When it comes to video games with little stakes, anyone that knows me will say I'm the most devoted gambler you've ever seen. But this stupid roulette table has ruined my life. Because I was having trouble getting to my next save point, I needed to gamble by shooting either 15, 29, or 7. I needed to push my luck again and again and again, wasting ammo. And just to make things worse, my friend Charlie was just luckier than I was and almost always knew what it would be and tell me which one to shoot, then switch after I start rolling, and it would always be the second one he told me. No, it's 29 again. You know what? Sure. I'll swap to 29. You just want to... That's what you want.
It's gonna be 7.
It's not gonna be 7. It's not gonna be 7, please. Just don't gamble. There's a reason why it's illegal for minors. As I made my way through the East Wing, I came upon the examination room, and boy how did I see a familiar face. It was my cousin Kobe. But then I remembered he was the first to feel the wrath of my freaky Uncle Cole, and since then, he's never been the same.
Not a nightmare.
Sanity.
Cannot deny how fine the gastrointestinal tract is.
What?
I'm sorry, what?
I can only imagine the horrors that Kobe experienced that night. I made my way past the lab in which I gained the blood collector and gained the ability to craft ammo in instant kill injectors. Next I killed this light zombie for another coin, then go back to the collection room for these 30 rounds using antique coins to fight these 3 zombies that come through this area, making my way upstairs to get the security access, and I come upon the thickest man in all the land. Cheeks so large, some say they span the entirety of the universe, or in this case, the entire hall. While I of course would never harm this 1x1 Lego piece wearing the worst shorts known to man, I still decided it would be best if he blew up. I continued looting as much as I could and killing a lot of zombies by the way for the blood and to have as little risk as possible. I went to the office in the West Wing, gaining the ability to craft Requiem ammo and the Med Med Injector! Get that trash out of here! One trick I want to mention is that at some points when I was one-shot, if you open any boxes without heals in your inventory, it will give you the heals you desperately need. But for this challenge, that's the opposite of what I want, because I want as much ammo and crafting materials as possible. So at some points, I would hold a Med Injector to manipulate the spawns just a bit. I grabbed the wrench and took down this awesome bulldozer that I didn't know how to second phase in its sanity. I thought he was already dead. For a while.
Why is it still moving?
Wait, what? Did I miss something here?
Yeah. A giant glowing thing.
Where I got the artificial lungs and later the artificial heart. I then went to the examination and revived this poor twisted experiment of Kobe's from the corruption of that one fateful night with freaky Uncle Cole. As I inserted and connected the artificial organs, my eyes wandered a bit down, and it was true. I'm sorry for doubting you before. His gastrointestinal tract was indeed fine. Beyond fine. Even possibly heavenly. When Frankenstein arose, I remembered that you actually can just wait for him to drop dead after like 30 seconds, and I went to third person to show my friend the epic RPD mod, and I got grabbed just before he fell. That stupid piece of shit. I sold the poor man's level 2 access wristband, the $34 in his wallet, and his license because we look similar, and then after this is all done and over, I could drink underage to celebrate. But then, I noticed that he had a massive poop stain and remembered that his liver was absolutely demolished in the examination room. I put 2 and 2 together to figure out that his cause of death was getting blackout drunk, pooping his pants, and choking on his own vomit to death. Kobe, the kind soul trying to forget and move on from that one night with my freaky Uncle Cole, tried to save and bring him back to life. But of course, that was much more difficult than anticipated because of the many years of drinking leading to liver failure and dying of natural causes. It was at that moment I decided I would never touch a drop of alcohol in my life. Even if I had an open wound that would kill me if I got infected, no! That would never happen. That burns too much. I kind of forgot to mention, but the conference room really shouldn't have been that hard, but I whiffed 2 shots of the Requiem on this skank, and that's some really precious ammo down the drain. I went through the level 2 access area, lined up this beautiful shot, and when I looked at the last puzzle, I realized I couldn't read it, but there was braille writing there. I tried to use the remaining brain cells I had left and put together that the order of the sun, star, and moon would be the same as the last 2 boxes, but the plot was too powerful, and I couldn't put in the code given to me on a silver platter. I knew it was a stretch and a tall ask, but maybe the blind toddler could figure it out. I picked up Emily and took her over to the box. Thankfully, her mind had regressed to the point that my voice had left an imprint in her mind, and she thought that I was her mother. Aww. But not too far that she couldn't get lucky pushing buttons randomly. I defended the room and returned to see that Emily indeed got lucky. After giving her some positive reinforcement, like the strong, independent woman that I am, I helplessly watched as my psycho ex stole Emily from right in front of me. What? Why? Marie didn't care about Emily. She was just using Emily to get closer to me and lure me into the dark. No shot. I was going down there. This clinic is my new home. I have very few living friends, and even then, they're undead, but there's no way I'm dropping down there.
Way.
As I dropped down into the abyss, accepting the consequences of my failures and past choices, all of a sudden I got to play as Leon. And wait, is that a onesie? No, please, not you, Leon! Victor explains that he injected Leon with the degenerate virus, and now he's in this epic onesie that kind of looks like Stitch, but it's not Stitch, and it has a spider on the back, I guess. Of course, Leon asks an important question.
You know, I do have a question. When's the last time you brushed your teeth?
And escapes from the man whose breath leaves a lasting odor in every room he enters. Swapping to Leon, this man is all action mechanics, and the first thing you do is fight Gorlock. I thought I ruptured all 800 pounds of this man like 5 minutes ago. Luckily, these hands are ready to eat for everyone, so after debating the boulder to break some walls for me, I put the thick boy down and solved world hunger. I'm not just making videos, I'm saving lives. And then, it's hunting season. I explored the entirety of the clinic hunting for any stragglers and grabbing any herbs I had left to sell. Because at this point, with the degenerator virus, Leon is an absolute demon working off of pure instinct, and also I needed the money to upgrade and buy weapons, like the Redemption. The Redemption is another New Game Plus weapon, but it's essentially a toned down version of the Requiem with a single round, but there are two really good things about it. One, it takes sniper ammo, so I have all the Requiem rounds I want and need. And two, with the one and done mechanic, it pairs extremely well with the Glasses charm, increasing penetration and damage for the last shot. After clearing out the clinic, I head upstairs, caught a dummy lacking, and fought through the office. I descended into the depths below. I was terrified. If Maria had her way with me, who knows what could happen. As I cautiously made my way through, I saw a hall of zombies trapped in cells. I always had my suspicions that freaky Uncle Cole may not have been truly stuck in the hotel, but seeing how these zombies acted, I think I may have been right. Among those cells, I saw Emily sleeping nice and tight like a little angel, but this was terrible news. I remember one time my freaky Uncle Cole had to go to the ER because he swallowed a key, and I realize now it was the key to all those cells, and now the only way to open them was a manual override. The problem with this, though, is it would do it for every cell, so I'd either have to let Emily turn to a monstrous fetus or gather the 3 fuses needed for the override. There's no shot I'm doing all that with her lurking around. I skedaddled back to the elevator, but there was no power. So I guess I am saving that trash panda after all. To be honest, this place wasn't all that interesting, except for one part, the super treadmill. Wait! Wrong one. It's not 2010 anymore. While it may not have taken many attempts, there was some strategy needed. One issue with this area is if you get grabbed, it's GG's go next, because you'll be reliving the glory days of Gang Beasts. The problem here is that it's a very tight space. Oh my god, I got a lift now. The problem here is that it's a very tight space with multiple enemies, and in Insanity, zombies take 3 to 5 shots to stumble. You don't have enough time to brute force through these enemies or rounds in each magazine, so that Molotov you get here is really important for these 2 zombies right here. And then if you feel overwhelmed after that, I made another Molotov just in case. I also found out later, after the run, you can shoot the zombies' heads before they come up to prep a stun and push them into the grinder. Note that Grace's other pistol, the one with lower fire rate and less damage, actually has a better stat, I guess you would say, so it makes this part much easier. So there's actually a really easy cheese or strategy for this fight if you know which zombies get up. After that, Marie thought she was slick, and then I had all the fuses. I picked the stupid child up and ran even faster than when I saw those wildly expensive cigarettes. Marie thought she had it in the bag and ran after us, but obviously she can't climb faster than an elevator.
What's going on?
I stand corrected. Okay, Emily, get back, whore. The power of Christ compels you. Wow, I really did. I guess it's just a lesson to read your Bible. Thankfully, with my quick thinking, I was able to narrowly escape and take Emily out of the clinic and escape this nightmare. Whoa! Yeah! I even found a kind man that would fly us out.
Can you fly this?
Sure can. My bastard boss took the key.
Or not. Well, no biggie. I can just go get the keys. And wow, just look at that. I unlocked the security so I could go back to Henry faster, and that's when I saw something terrible. Victor, my possible love interest, was on the phone with this Xeno guy, and he said that after they find Elpis, they were going to go on a trip to the Bahamas. I was devastated. Was all that talk about how he stalked me for years, but he didn't have the courage to talk to me yet just some big lie? I mean, I'm starting to feel like he almost didn't even want to kidnap me anymore. And that hurt. As I escaped the lab, my head was swirling. All those memories of the 5-minute talk we had, ending with him choking me out and bringing me to a mental institution, came flooding into my head. Did it mean nothing? How could he just move on like that? Luckily, with a nice shower, the most sick and entirely on purpose dodge, No, there sure is. I should have known. Oh! Oh! I realized that sadly, Victor was just an old fart trying to sleep around, and I learned that I needed to move on as much as it pains me to do so. As I made my escape back to Henry, I at least knew I could go back to the FBI and live a normal life. Because Henry has the piloting skills of an inbred lobotomite with Down syndrome, we crashed, and when I looked in the backseat, I saw my poor non-blooded child grimacing. No! Leon saw Henry's terrible piloting, and he came to help. I told Emily that she needs to hang in there and that she can't succumb to the genitor virus. Not now. And for the first time, I picked up Emily, but it wasn't for my personal gain. It was for her. I was running for my life trying to save Emily and bring her to safety while this absolute hunk was sniping down any problems. I almost didn't even notice at first, but then when I was finally in Cathedral tending to Emily, Leon came bursting in with that dashing onesie and my entire world came crashing down. Leon was infected by the degener virus, and there's nothing I could do. He was able to hold off the blisterborn as I ran away. I descended further into the basement of the cathedral, and the further I went, the more and more it turned into a lab. I found a safe spot to let Emily rest while I looked for an exit. That's when I realized that skank hoe was here. But for some reason, this time, I felt a little reminiscent. I remembered how our last fight went. It was a very special and sunny day. It was my birthday. Marie woke me up excitedly, shaking me. She said there was a prize in the driveway and that she spent every penny she had on it. I kept my sleep mask on, not for the surprise, but solely to avoid looking at her. When I went onto the driveway and took off my sleep mask, I saw a Lamborghini, but that twisted slut got me a black one and not a pink one. I mean, it was the least I could do. I returned to Emily, but it happened. She became this hideous, monstrous fetus, and Leon protected me by shooting her down. I tried to save her, but I couldn't. I wanted to keep the sick as hell Black Ice Requiem, but I knew Leon wouldn't let that slide. I dropped it for him and walked away. I was in a daze. Felt as if I was stuck in some sort of limbo. Looking back on Marie, I thought maybe I overreacted. I mean, she spent every last cent on a gift from me. But then I remembered she had the audacity to say that I was being childish when I broke up with her. And now I'm just hoping that Mother of Harlots comes back again so I can blast her to Kingdom Come. For some reason, Victor was just standing there. I guess he still liked to stalk me, and in my moment of weakness, he told me to follow him and that I did the right thing. I couldn't help but trust him. I mean, he had the common sense to know I was clearly in the right regarding the Lambo. Victor offered me a ride, and that must be him. That man whore who took my future husband. Yeah, we will be having a talk. Now we get to the precursor of RPD. To be honest, there isn't really much special to talk about in this zone. Leon is kind of just a power trip for as long as you can parry and have a working frontal lobe. I completed the zone, then saw that I missed some stuff, so I went back, and then I found out you can soft lock yourself in the zipline area if you've already done the elevator. Wait, how do I teleport? Or how do I get down from this place? This one. So that was a full hour and a half of my life wasted that I will never get back. The motorcycle sequence, of course, was peak, ending with Leon's worst one-liner.
Should've worn a helmet.
And I almost forgot to mention, look at what the degener virus did to Leon. He's on a motorcycle, without shoes or socks, it's just dogs dangling in the wind, for free I might add. That bad guy gets away, so he just decides suicide is the best option and jumps a gap the size of Mount Everest just to Aura Farm. He has officially lost it. Upon entering RPD, Leon's mental has regressed to the age of RPD, so his memories feel as if they truly were yesterday, and he's so scared and detached from reality, he hallucinates tofu running around as a coping mechanism, which is just terrible for a fallen hero who rejected overtime all those years ago and even said sorry.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
Sorry.
However, there was something he now remembered so vividly he couldn't get it out of his head. It was too important. After following some clues, he found it and,
Lord have mercy. We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Spying in on Rebecca's photo like some dirty perv. You're going to horny jail where you shall rot for the rest of your days. Leon, trying to uncover Elvis and hoping to save Grace, snoops in on my very civil dispute.
He my house, sit back or I blow your brains out. Don't test me.
Zeno, unsure of what to do with a 5'4" blonde woman yelling in his face, decides that he would ignore her and just lay out exposition. He explains that I was the key to retrieving Elpis, which would give them the ability to make more of the Degenetor virus and gain militant leverage over the entire world. But what was so special about me? He said they've been trying to genetically engineer the genes required to unleash Elpis, but after decades of failed experiments, including the now fetal Emily, they found the specimen with the perfect genetic compound. Me. I didn't know what to say. Did this mean I could truly secure a future with the golden tooth Manther? Before I could say yes or really think of my answer, I was sent to the orphanage. This zone is kinda cool the first time you play it, but then you realize there's never any danger. But wait, do all these demonic children with the skills of the one and only Hunk have the Degenetor virus? I take it back. There absolutely is danger. With a rare mutation, the Degenetor virus turns you into tiny, walking, invincible monsters that snap necks with their evil, glowing eyes, giggling all the time. Okay, maybe they're scary when you're stupid enough to sit against the wall when they're getting swarmed, but turns out if you just walk behind them, they have no power over you. I grabbed the fire poker and escaped. Leon is kind of having flashbacks again of his old stalker, Mr. X, who came back from the grave, and after a short chase sequence, I waddled on down to the... Oh, come on. The Mr. X fight really isn't too terrible. It took me maybe like 20 minutes or something, but I have a very valid reason for that. I wanted to do it hitless for no real reason other than I thought it would be cool. A couple of things I realized was the car throws were just a cancer plaguing this earth, but they're actually not as bad as I thought. If you just position yourself directly behind a car at all times, then he'll never have a good shot on you. When he gets caught on a car, just tap his heart with the Requiem, and finally sharpen your hatchet after every cinematic parry. And before some chud decides to say, Stewie, you didn't actually do this. Shut up, Carl! That's why no one loves you. Yes, there is scripted damage for like 2% of your health bar, but as far as I'm aware, there isn't a way to avoid this, and if there is, let me know in the comments. After that fight, I made my way down to Ark and kept fighting Venom's Master D's where I made a critical mistake. I thought once you enter the lab as Leon, you get an auto full heal, but you don't. And I was just barely above the HP threshold of the danger health status, so from this point on, I mostly have to do the lab hitless, because as soon as you're in danger, it's basically GG's, because you're too slow to dodge or make any distance at all times. From there, I found the soldiers before Hunk were a bit of a nightmare. They really aren't stormtroopers, so they actually hit their shots, and they have body armor, so it's pretty much mandatory to go for the head. But that's not the issue. They take from pro play and siege and will swing you guns a-blazing and Swiss cheese your cheeks, at least knocking 20% of your HP off. But remember, as soon as that happens, that save or run is cooked. So I have to go through these sections and play almost perfect. Another issue is I was using the redemption a lot through this run, so I didn't really upgrade the sniper, which makes this area so much easier because they one tap to the head. It already does that at maybe 1 or 2 firepower upgrades, which I had, but I didn't upgrade the fire rate at all, making it extremely clunky and risky to use outside of a one-on-one engagement. I also needed to break out the liquor a couple times to cut off the tongue for one of my last achievements, so I had to perfectly execute this fight a couple times. I did learn that you can spawn kill the second wave by shooting them before they drop down, and then they kind of just die after that animation like they're Victor from DVD. After that though, we come to the best boss fight in the game, Hunk. He took some practice as he's really fast, and that fake out move is an absolute menace.
Didn't realize
He hit you with the fade.
He is much easier if you use the Mortal Edge, which increases the parry window, and you really just need to play defensive and stay close to him at all times. After I slit the goat's throat, his platoon enters, jumpscaring me because this was my very first Insanity run period, but of course there's like 3 guys, so it wasn't really a massive issue. Whoa! What the? Leon walked in on me and Zeno talking business and how maybe we could just be in throuple in the end because he's genuinely just a chill guy. We also thought that we could all change our Steam profile names to his, hers, and theirs. But before we really got to that, Leon wanted to throw hands because by this point he was about 14 and really dumb, so he tried to protect me because he had the hots for me. I don't fully understand it myself, but he genuinely gets folded because Zeno isn't super chill anymore and is actually superhuman. It was at that moment I realized I couldn't compete with Zeno, so I needed to eliminate the competition. I told Zeno that if he hurt Leon, I would kill myself, and he knew that if I died, Victor would no longer go to the Bahamas with him because he would be too busy dealing with his grief. Just then, Leon again did something really dumb by taking out a massive mechanical arm, and it somehow became an elevator or something. Man, he's really got a habit of taking women by the hand and making them drop down from high places, huh? But Leon was becoming even more erratic, losing mental and physical stability even more by the second. I found a way to leave, but that meant I had to leave Leon without my supervision, but I had to do it. It was the only way. For the lab, I found that picking up the bottles as I crept past the first liquor worked, but then this liquor was just sitting in the hallway. I tried waiting to see if he would go on the walls and let me slip by, but he wouldn't budge. I found out, though, that if I walked close enough to grab his attention but not aggro him, I could lead him out from the hallway, grab the 2 corrosive bottles, kill both liquors, and escape. I also just killed every zombie I could because at this point I had over 100 handgun rounds and nothing to really use them on, and it was also safer that way. I killed the zombie in that little research room and unlocked the ability to craft corrosive bottles, and that's when I summoned Exodia. I had saved all of my glass bottles and transfusion bags for this area specifically. With that, I already had 6 corrosive bottles when I left the box. I also made sure to kill basically every enemy at this point because I wanted to see how many corrosive bottles I could get or make. I threw this awesome molly, made another corrosive bottle, then moved on to the container room. I shot this first zombie too close to the container, so I had a little scare, but that's nothing a good bottle couldn't fix. No. Oh wait, he did die. Oops. Should be plenty of blood for the full heal here, though. Kinda. I grabbed more blood to use my final steroid injector, marking my last full heal of the entire run. From there on out, it was hunting season. I had more than enough ammo for the zombies and a large surplus of corrosive bottles for the liquors, though I will say I did give this liquor the pump of death, aka malevolent backshots. I cleared through the rest and opened the safes, which left me with 6 corrosive bottles after crafting 7. I was a madwoman who could never be stopped. Going back to Leon's gameplay was sad. I was playing the absolute GOAT, but the degenerator virus was clearly taking a large toll on his mind, and at this point, every once in a while, I'd need to slow down to resist the urge to become a massive fetus. Thankfully, liquors get 1 tap to the head with redemption, at least when you use the glasses charm. That made the container room really easy with a couple of well-timed parries. And then the elevator room. This was annoying. This took me a little while again, but I did find a strategy. Go to this area right here, wait till the 4 liquors spawn around you, and parry if you have to. Get behind the canister and blow it up when they group together, then move to the canister in the far corner. Again, parry if needed and blow that up on them too. Then take out any remaining liquors of redemption and go to this corner and shotgun down the remainder of the zombies. I also found out after my friend told me that you can go to the settings and turn off the first person scope with the side attachments, but keep the 100% accuracy, which at least for me made it much easier to aim. Then I walked down the hall feeling very sick to my stomach, needing a motherly figure there to rub my tummy and say it'll be alright. I broke down at this really big and dramatic door for no reason other than plot. Going back to Grace, I found out that my mom interviewed Oswald Spencer, the man who started it all, and it was actually my adoptive father. He made the degenerator virus, and as he would put it,
my research opened Pandora's box.
Elpis was the cure to the I give up. Elpis was the cure to the degenerative virus, but it was a vital part of the compound and need to make more. Spencer, through his guilt and grief, hid away Elpis to protect the world and adopted me as a way to make amends and atone for his sins. And later, I was given to my adoptive mother, Alyssa. Given the fact that even the man that was terrified of the degenerative virus, the same man that wanted to play God and create almost every bioweapon known by man, I understood releasing it would create catastrophic consequences for the entire world. Then I saw my idol, Leon, slowly turning into a chud. After rushing over to help, I knew right then and there I would risk the world to save Leon and cure him of the degenerative virus using Elpis. As I walked Leon out of the sight of Elpis, Zeno was there and ready for my answer. I knew that I would never have a future with Victor. He was just using me, and I now realize that Zeno didn't actually want us to be a throuple. He just wanted to make more degenerative virus with Victor and live a long, gay, prosperous life with each other, and I'm not part of that picture. I grabbed Elpis, injected Leon, saving him, and whispered in his ear, "We need to stop them." That's when I saw Victor's true colors. He slimed out his gay lover without a second thought to save Elpis and its abilities all for himself. I couldn't believe it. Not only did he stalk me as a minor, act like he loved me, faked caring about my decision to eliminate the hideous excuse of a woman, but he wasn't even actually gay for Zeno. We were both pawns in his scheme. As our stable ground fell once more, it was time for the final boss fight against Victor. I had to do the first phase hitless at the very least because, again, if I got hit, I'd be too slow to reload or sharpen my hatchet or even be able to dodge. You just need to play it safe for this fight, so I took my guns and my metal pipe and got to work. One thing I should mention is hatchet durability is the most important thing in any boss fight for this game. As long as you have durability, you're essentially invincible to almost any attack. With first phase, anytime Victor stumbles back after a parry means you have enough time to sharpen it, and be careful with when you're shooting so you're never stuck in a shooting animation and will always have time to parry. And save at least one Requiem shot for when he pulls out a rocket launcher, because then you can steal it and cheese like half of the first phase. Once you make it through, you actually get an autosave on the second phase, and this one is all hatchet durability again and popping the pitbulls. For the big one, I used anything with high DPS like the carbine or the max upgraded silencer pistol, and after any big attack, I'd sharpen the hatchet. To make the massive pimple horde easier, I just used the carbine, or a sack grenade is also really good here. Then, after I gave Victor a final love tap, it was over. Look at that. Remarkable agent and never touched the stuff. Total of 7.5 hours of playtime. Kind of. Been done though. It's been done. I woke up to Leon, and because we were alone, I accepted my fate to death beside my hero. But apparently one of his friends sent in a team to save us. One walked up to Leon saying that there was a message for him. He told him something about Project B. As I sat in the helicopter ready to go home and make a report, Leon approached me saying that he was proud of me and that I proved myself worthy of the uniform, and he thanked me for saving his life, but above all, he said there was a chance I could save Emily with Elpis as well. I was so happy with this news. I was on top of the world, and I went for a long shot. I asked him for overtime. He politely declined as I expected, but then he hurried off very suspiciously. I felt like there was something he was hiding from me that he didn't want me to know. Using my resources at the EI, I found where he had to run off to, and oh my.
I got it from my daddy.
A couple weeks later, Leon called me with some incredible news. Project Boyband was a success, and their new single was at the top of the charts. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Truly. It is by far the largest project I've worked on, and making a script that almost pushed to the 10th page, which is definitely far larger than any essay I've written. This was a video I wanted to experiment with, and as I'm sure many of you noticed, this video is heavily inspired by the style of the majority of Dante Ravioli's content, and a massive thank you to my friend Jodley for helping me strategize some parts of the run and helping me create this goofy story with just a couple of visual mods. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe, because I think I may do more of this kind of content if it performs well, and if I find something that I'd like to make another video like this on. The challenge itself was streamed at twitch.tv/JoeyEasyBoy, and I'll be starting my RE4 playthrough, RE4 remake playthrough over there very soon as well. Again, thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.